As you can see, I've split up the thing, and it takes 6 seconds for it to make a full rotation. I don't know if I labeled that. 6 seconds. The radius, diameter. And what we have to do to figure out the different time segments is to split up the thing. We're gonna be using the time. So what we're gonna be doing is dividing up the time by 4. So the first one's gonna be 0 because it's at 0 time. 0 seconds, I mean, and then the next one's gonna be 1.5 seconds. Next one's gonna be at 3 seconds. 3 seconds, and the next one's gonna be at 44.5 seconds. And the last one's gonna be at 6 seconds when it's done the full rotation. So now we have our x values for the graph. And now we need to figure out what our y values are, which is what time does how many feet does the graph get to in that certain amount of time. So first is going to be 0 seconds. And what do we know is that the right of the height is at 4 feet. So 0 is going to be at 4 feet because that's how high it is at that time, because it's not moving. The typhoon has not moved at all. And the second one's going to be 1.5 seconds, which is a quarter of the way there. And what we know is that it's at the radius, it's 28 feet. So that means when it's halfway there, it's 28 feet above the ground. But since the ride is 4 feet above the ground, we must add 4 to the 28. So we are given 32. Next one is 3 seconds. I didn't mean 3 seconds. So at 3 seconds, the ride has reached a vertical point, which is the top. So at the top, we know that it reaches, since we found out the diameter, which is 4 way around the circle, we know that it's 56 feet. But again, like I said before, we have to add the 4 seconds, so it will be 60 feet at the top. And then we have 4.5 seconds again because it's rotated the other way. Well, it's not 4.5 seconds again, it's 4.5 seconds have gone by, but it will be 32 again because we're at the same exact height as we were at 1.5 seconds because it's halfway. So it's going to be 32 again. And lastly, 6 seconds. It's going to be 60 again. Oh no, sorry, 4 again, because it's going to be at the bottom again, and it's 4 feet off the ground, so it'll be 4. Now, since we've gotten the graph, we can finally plot our points. So question 3 asks, sketch the graph so question 2 asks sketch the graph. So what we know is that, I also forgot to show my graph. Here's my x values, here are my y values. This is the time in seconds, and this is the height in feet. I'll label that as well, so we know which units we are in. Seconds, 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 seconds. Okay, now that we have our graph, we can make now that we have our chart, we can make our graph. So in order to make the graph, we must figure out what we're going to be making our graph in radians, which is our periods. So we know that the circle in the radius circle, it starts at pi. So that's going to be our first point. And then it's going to, it does not start at pi. I'm sorry about that. It's going to be pi over 2. That's where it starts. Then the next one is going to be pi because that's half of the circle. Then it will be 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2. And lastly, 2 pi, which is full way around the circle. Okay, that is our x values, which is the time, but in radians. So now we must add the height. So it's going to be 4, 32, and 60, which 4 is the minimum, and 60 is the maximum because that's the maximum amount of height it can be, and 32 is the midline for the graph because 32 is the middle in the radius, I mean. So it's going to be, that's where the middle is. So since this is make sure you explain how you found your points, use a graph. So 4 is actually going to be, since 4 is the minimum and this is going to be a cosine graph, I don't know why we have to write the function at the end, because I feel like in order to find this graph, we have to find the function. So I'm going to write down the function first. So the function will be f of x equals 4, or negative 4, sorry. It'll be, no, negative 28, because 28 without adding the 4 is actually our amplitude, because that is the, sorry, this is the, that's going to be our midpoint, plus 32, which is the maximum, equals, sorry, I did this wrong.